true Renaissance artist. I talented in about 25 different disciplines. I'm
Wow.
a published artist. You can put this in there. Deviantart.com.
DVN?
Deviant, yeah. It means different. And art.com, you can put in my name, J.G.
Art.com.
Blackstock,
J.G. Blackstock.
and I've got 51 pieces of work.
Wow. I'm going to check that out.
That's what I'm going to do in retirement. Now I've been retired. These guys were on the ball here. They were here in seconds.
That's good. That's really good to hear.
Well, if it is escalated any longer, I would have pulled out the pepper spray and pepper sprayed every one of them.
So
They're
what
stolen.
exactly happened?
These two guys were sitting on bikes right here.
What two guys?
The guy right
That
there
guy with his
and
bike.
the guy in the
And
ambulance.
the guy in the ambulance.
They were just standing there with a bicycle. It looks like a Buick with a blacked out window with blue tape around the blackout window. A blonde woman with a hatchet and a man with a ball peen hammer. I guess it was rubber, but they just beat the crap out of these guys. That's when I called 911.
You called. Okay.
And yeah, I was
Thank
on
goodness you
911
had a phone.
when they were pulling up. But if it got really serious, I would have pepper sprayed them. But they were just. It's funny when you watch two drunks fight. They never hit each other, you know.
Yeah, but that's
But
not.
this guy got a hammer hit on his head.
The guy they took in the ambulance wasn't intoxicated, right?
Neither
No.
of these guys. They're
And
just
neither was
homeless.
this guy over here.
But the
That's
way the
sad.
cops are acting, they know who it is.
Yeah.
You can't be that nonchalant.
Okay, good. Yeah, they made small work of this,
So,
so
if you want to find me, Google my name.
I'm gonna do that. Can I leave you a message there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
It was nice talking to you. Do you guys know who did that to them? They said no, not yet. So ultimately, what ended up happening here was the guy in the ambulance right now and this other man behind the tree on his bike. There he goes. I hate watching that. Guys, John Evans. This is at Broadway and Evans. So those two guys were over here, according to that man I was just talking to. And somebody drove up in a car and got out and hit that guy on the head with a hammer or axe. You can see it in the first live stream that I did. Hey, Ellie. Yeah, my channel's all screwed up. So, there's not that many people in here, but the recap is that I was just driving at this major intersection at Broadway and Evans, and I saw these two cops whip through traffic, no lights, no signals, and turn in here to this Burger King back parking lot. And in that first live stream you saw when I started recording, it had just happened. That guy on the ground over there by the bus stop got hit in the head with a hammer. That guy on the bike, hey Paul, nice to see you. That guy on the bike who does live homeless, I guess it got into this altercation with this car that pulled up and these two people jumped out. I don't know, probably trying to either rob them or send a message. There's been a lot of this violence towards the homeless, and it's really dangerous right now. they're seen as easy targets. Yeah, that guy he was up there in age. I hate seeing stuff like that. I don't know. I hope he was okay. He was laying on the ground for quite a while and then he just jumped up. I'm guessing he probably has a pretty good concussion, but he was definitely bleeding from the back of his head. So, is Road Dogs in here? How is everybody? It's been a long time. Yeah, smash that like button, people, please. So yeah, I've kind of taken this little break from YouTube inadvertently, and not really directly, but I've been super busy with some other stuff that I've got to get taken care of. So that's why I'm not here all the time doing the live streams. MLH, are you in here? Road Dogs, good to see you. Yeah, you're in here again. Okay. No, it wasn't a fight between the two of them. It was a car. I think it was random. That guy that I was talking to at the bus stop, he called 911. And he thought that the cops probably knew who had done this, but the cops said they do not know who did that. So I hope that they invest the time and the resources into that, because the homeless have become really soft targets for other desperate people. You know, some of these homeless do just fine for themselves and are a target for being robbed and beaten, and that's the truth. So there goes the ambulance behind me. They don't have their lights on, so at least they're going to take him and get him checked out. So, Paul, that's a great question. I have not done a follow-up video on that. Let's chat about that. Did my husband get that ticket taken care of? I had made a community post on my YouTube channel. If you go to the community section, you'll see the paperwork that states he was found not guilty. Imagine that. He was found not guilty. But here's the kicker in all of that. It was obvious that he wasn't guilty. He had to take a day off of work. He had to do the research to be able to properly represent himself in traffic court, because remember, I was talking about how night court here, or Denver's traffic court, resembles night court proceedings, and it really does, up to the point of you represent yourself. You can have an attorney if you want, but it is the charging officer that represents the city. But at some point in that process, there is a city attorney at some level that's probably shuffling a stack of tickets this deep every day and not even looking at them. So everybody says that the offer that was made was done by the city attorney, and that, you know, there's a problem in that process for not just dismissing the charges. But the whole thing of that is the offer is made immediately on the ticket. And if you'll recall, for those of you that are just getting up to speed on this, back on my YouTube channel, you'll see a video or 2 or 3 titled "Check These Fuckers Out." And we were simply driving through an area where the homeless frequent, because we happened to see 3 cops sitting on private property doing nothing. So we pulled up, which would have been legally parking alongside the road, and we were recording them. And one officer, John Shaw, got his balls up in his throat and decided to conduct a traffic stop after realizing that he didn't like being recorded, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what that guy's deal was. So he whipped around and turned his lights on, and then ended up giving my husband, who was driving, a ticket for impeding traffic. So what he charged him with, nothing we did, were doing, had done, even fit the crime. So it was an easy thing to disprove in court. But the problem with it is that that officer committed the crime of official misconduct. Truly. That is an official crime in the state of Colorado, and he needs to be charged with it because he used his position to cause harm. And the offer on the ticket was that if he paid the $135 fine, the 3-point violation would be reduced to 1 point. Yeah, a lot of people aren't going to be able to take the time to fight something like that, and they're going to end up paying it. But here's what happens. As soon as your insurance gets wind of that, guess what? Our already astronomically inflated vehicle insurance rates in this state that keep going up year after year after year, your insurance is going to go up again. And so, yeah, it was the video of the cops that were parked. Yeah, it was. And so, yeah, ultimately he went to court. I couldn't go with him. I had to be in court as a witness to a domestic violence trial that day. So I couldn't go with him. I didn't help him do anything, except I did make a request for the body cam footage prior to him going to court. And here's another battle that I'm having with Denver right now as well. So Denver, one of the only agencies I know of, at least in this entire state, that makes you prepay for records because they can. So you have to prepay $25 to get body cam footage in Denver. And then you kind of have to fight with them if they decide that they're not going to release it for whatever reason. Well, I couldn't fight with them on this reason because they cited denial of releasing the body cam footage when I initially made the request based on the evidence being used for prosecution. Well, we have a new law that I could have challenged them with that on, but I didn't. I let it go. And they said they would refund me $10 of my $25 because they have to keep $15 for a research fee. Well, so Officer John Shaw shows up to his own prosecution, claims that he has the body cam footage with him that he wants to submit into evidence when the judge asks both parties. This is another procedural rule for traffic court. You bring your evidence the day of your hearing. My husband submitted all of his evidence, which, in fact, he didn't even include a video. All he did was take pictures of where he was parked, measured the street, jotted down all of the things that didn't fit the law, the crime that he was charged with, and he presented his evidence to the judge. And the judge said, you want to enter all this evidence? And he said, yeah. She said, I only need this one. And it was one picture of where he was parked that clearly showed he wasn't impeding traffic, okay? So the case was very cut and dry. And the judge made a lot of comments, according to my husband, that she felt there was something else going on here besides a normal traffic stop. And then when the cop got on the stand, I guess my husband questioned him pretty good. I really wish I could have been there to see this. And he had told the judge that he didn't want to enter his body cam footage as evidence because he didn't think it would serve any purpose. Well, John was probably right. Officer Shaw was probably right. But the purpose that it does serve, to see that body cam footage, is public interest. So after my husband was found not guilty, I went back to Denver Civil Liability and I said, could you please now release this body cam footage? And since I haven't received my $10 refund, I'll pay you the $10 to make good on the full $25 that I'm required to pay for this body cam footage when I receive my refund. All they wanted to fight about was, no, you're not going to get this body cam footage again, and we refunded your money, and you're going to have to go start over and pay again. You should have seen the chain of emails on this ridiculous issue over this body cam footage. So that was back on November 18th that I just gave up fighting on that issue for a while. And so last week I picked it back up and I said to Denver again, okay, how do you want me to submit this $10 that has now hit my bank? And they came back right away and said that, yeah, I could just go ahead and pay the $10, and they'd let me know if there was any more needed documentation or additional fees. And that was last week. I still don't have the body cam footage. But once I do, you all will be the first to see it, because it's gonna be right. I guarantee ya. Redneck girl, how are you? Good to see you. I'm good. Yeah, what are they hiding, MLH? Because I requested the body cam footage of all of them. We'll see what they give me. It was pretty obvious. It was very cut and dry. It should still all be stored. We knew exact names, date, time, everything. There's no research involved. All that's involved is them going and pulling it, downloading it, creating a link, and sending it to me. Denver doesn't even give you a disk or a drive or any of that. They use the vault system. What is that? Online vault or whatever, where they store all of this. And so they send you a link to that specific body cam footage, and you have X amount of days to access it and download it. So the fact that they're really even charging $25 a pop and then leaving themselves a lot of room to negotiate more collection of fees is total bullshit. We know that. That's why people have got to fight harder for body cam footage. And just because they're wearing body cams doesn't mean there's transparency, you guys. I cannot emphasize enough how deceptive Denver is with that body cam footage. They are. When I went to court, my last court appearance, which, by the way, I'm still scheduled for trial on the 20th for being charged by District 3, as a matter of fact, for failure to obey. We listened to a case for 45 minutes of a woman who had pleaded not guilty to disturbing the peace, some dumb municipal charge. And her attorneys were having a hell of a fight trying to get body cam footage from the city attorney's office. And the city attorney's office was claiming that they weren't getting any response from the Denver Police Department. And the judge, you know, Rudolph, he loves to be heard. So he went off on this tangent for 45 minutes and was just literally scolding these student attorneys that were trying to represent this woman. But the bottom line is, Denver is making it very hard to get that body cam footage because they don't want things out there. So if they find reasons to not release it, they're going to try to do that. And a lot of times it's not legit. And a lot of times there are other ways to fight it, to get it. So yeah, hit that like button, you guys. Also, I do continue to be out here on the streets with the homeless. I'm not making a lot of videos of it right now. Very few, as a matter of fact, because we're just kind of taking a break from the direct street outreach and trying to focus more on certain individuals that have set some goals that are in immediate need. Just like right here at Broadway and Evans, there was a man that needed a size 16 pair of boots for the winter. This man, come to find out, just right across the street from me right now, lost all 5 toes on one foot to frostbite and his big toe on another foot, on his other foot. Last year during that cold snap, when I was putting people in motels, he was missed. And that whole thing has really been on my mind every day. When I read the news and things that are going on in our world, in our government, with all this force, how can we not identify an individual laying in the cold in 10 below temperatures last winter. I feel so guilty about that. I wouldn't have known where to go look. He did tell me where he was. He was trying to hide from the elements, and he ended up hiding so well. I guess the city of Inglewood and all of their protect and serve people couldn't locate him. And he's lucky to be alive, I suspect. But his feet are still healing. And he didn't have a proper pair of shoes for winter. So that took a couple days to get that done, to find somewhere that carried a size 16 shoe, which I had to go clear across town and get that, along with socks that were big enough and thick enough. So you have some huge slippers to give away. 2 pair, that guy could probably benefit from them. Yeah, probably. Along with some big thick socks. I think so. He's still out here somewhere. I know the cops made him move the other day. So I need to locate him and check up on him at some point. And then just other various issues going on out here. For those of you that, thank you, I go far and above to help others. Well, not really. You know, I just do things that other people could do on just occasion. I do them more often. Indeed, I do. But it's just what I do, I guess. Most of them appreciate it. A handful of them do not. And I've had to spend some time really identifying and weeding through the ones that have consistently been taking advantage of resources being offered to them. They're out here, and they're called chronic homeless, and they're going to stay chronic homeless. Does that mean they don't have a right to survive? Absolutely not. But it does mean I need to learn how to use my time better. So I'm continuing to do that. Thank you, N161. So there's a lot of things going on a daily basis. And I guess YouTube just really isn't that big of a priority, as it never really has been. Although I still want the revenue to go directly to the nonprofit. So, you know, that's good. I guess I should get out and start hooping and hollering at cops some more. But you'll see I uploaded a couple videos today about DPD District 4 being fresh out of blinker fluid and octagon training. You guys, I told you, District 4 wants some more attention around themselves when it comes to rules for me, but not rules for thee, but not for me. Huh, District 4? Like Commander Fleece forbidding me and making sure that I don't attend his Commander Advisory Board group meetings. He sent me an email and told me that I am banned from attending a public meeting until the foreseeable future. Isn't that interesting? And no, I'm not letting that go. I'm working very hard on that issue, because the day the police think that they can hold secret meetings with community leaders and other community activists and elected officials, that's the day you start questioning that leadership being of a communist regime. That's what I'd say. Communist regime. So that commander of District 4, who is clearly a piss poor leader, has decided that he can hold secret meetings. Hang on just a second here. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, so that's District 4. And remember the last video I did when I showed up over there? I was just kind of checking things out that day, and you saw their front door windows were shattered out, and they put up some plywood. They got windows back in those front doors. But that day that I was there, I was just sitting there for a few minutes, just kind of watching what was going on. And within 5 minutes, 3 cops had run stop signs, not used their turn signals. So we're back to this to this issue of if you can't even use a turn signal when you're driving, I think you're an asshole. I think you're a total asshole. Is it a victimless crime? It is. We could go down a big philosophical debate on victimless crimes, but I have this little evil voice deep down in my soul that tells me anyone and everyone that doesn't use a turn signal should do 6 months in jail. We have so many traffic problems in this city right now. And the fact that this police department can't even use their damn turn signals and make even a half-ass complete stop at a 4-way stop is mind-blowing. I don't know if you recall, but I submitted a lot of video evidence to Denver's Internal Affairs, the police department, of their officers driving just downright reckless. I mean, putting people in danger, not obeying any traffic laws. I have video evidence. And every one of those complaints that I made, yes, thank you, Ellie. Thank you very much. Tomorrow's Giving Tuesday, everybody. So we need funds. We do. We always need funds, and they are getting low, and I've got to get busy. And that's been part of what I've been trying to do, is to hit donations hard again. Money is tight for people. It is a bad time right now. A lot of people don't realize that. So I have to focus on more of my bigger private donors that have the means at the end of the year. And so that includes a lot of legwork to address them, produce letters, things like that. So, but back to why the police department can't hold their own accountable to just basic traffic laws. Denver is the worst. I mean, they're bad. I submitted probably six to 8 internal affairs complaints over X amount of time. I want to say like a 6 to 9 month period when I was out on the roads every day. And I would see things that the Denver police were doing, and I would go, what the hell? I can't even believe that just happened, right? And you're not always in a position to record. And yeah, I tried the dash cam thing. Trust me, it never caught what was going on. So anyway, I would submit these to internal affairs, and they were blatant. They cleared every one of those officers of wrongdoing just by citing that the police were acting within their official duty and capacity. We know how that goes, right? They can do anything they want behind the wheel of a police car. And Denver's had some pretty hideous cases, Denver police, of some ridiculous accidents where they've hit pedestrians. You can Google it. It's out there. Trust me. So I think it's extra special there over in District 4 that entire police department sits right within a school zone where fines are doubled. Imagine that. They're at a 4-way stop that's marked with a pedestrian crosswalk, and at each one of those pedestrian crosswalks is a line before the crosswalk. If you paid attention in driver's ed, or you've recently taken a driver's test, you know that you have to stop behind the solid white line and then proceed up to the crosswalk if you cannot make a clear view to proceed through the 4-way stop. You don't stop in the crosswalk, just like the same applies at lights. You stop behind it. It is a traffic infraction to do that. So, I don't know. They do what they want. right? So let's just highlight it. Yes, and the 3 seconds. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is really cool. There is one officer over here in District 4, and I even identified him as he did everything right at that 4-way stop. I don't think he saw me recording him. He might have. But I'm going to tell you this little secret. He was the very first one I recorded at that 4-way stop, and he did everything right. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Officer Blake McGregor of District 4. And I've had interactions with him before, and he's actually quite smart. He would make a phenomenal leader, but he would need to be out on the street to be that phenomenal leader. And the command staff in Denver's police department, they're seldom out on the street where they belong. So I'm going to highlight Officer McGregor at some point, but so far, out of about 40, last time I looked, I had like 42 videos. He was the only one. And he didn't signal because he went straight. But yeah, this person in front of me might be drunk too. She almost hit the side of my car and then pulled up over here. You know, Ellie, thank you for highlighting that. Adopt a homeless person for the holidays. Please do that. And if that is something that you would like to do as a long-term effort, let me know. Because there are several people out here that could use some long-term support to meet some goals. As you know, we sent Zaina home. She's still doing well, best I know. What else is new and exciting out here? Well, unfortunately, Terry, I think many of you have seen Terry before, and she's actually in some of these chats sometimes. She lives homeless out here, chronic homeless. Her pop-up burned to the ground. She had a preventable accident in that pop-up. The Denver Fire Department, still, their internal affairs is a bunch of bullshit. I still need to follow up on some of that stuff. We don't have any fire prevention, education, and necessary use of force going on out here. We have a lot of dangerous situations brewing right now where people are being careless with gasoline and propane. You know, public safety and the whole wait until people die kind of thing is a whole different philosophical discussion when it comes to fire safety. And thank you to Mark Rudolph, who is always very willing to have conversations with me and educate me on things. I've learned things about things that I never knew when it comes to properly using propane. There are so many things about propane that are so incredibly dangerous, not just to the individual, but people around them. And when you've got 10, 12, 20 propane tanks, whether they're empty or full, in a immediate area, and you've got open fires, things could go wrong really quick, and a lot of people could die. And so why the Denver Fire Department decided it a good idea to end fire prevention efforts out here, I don't know. It's beyond me, but it was a stupid move, and it was solely instigated by that Vredenberg IA investigator for the Denver Police Department, for the Denver Fire Department, when I filed a complaint about Station 36 extinguishing a food fire and ruining all the food of a homeless man. So it turns out that they decided to punish the wrong person that tried to help me resolve that complaint, because Internal Affairs decided they were just going to ignore the complaint. Oh, that's a long story, but I'm going to get caught up on that. So I have a lot of respect for the Denver Fire Department. I really do. I mean, they showed up here in quick fashion, did their job, got out of here. They've shown up to other things that have involved the homeless where they've done a good job and, not harassed them or made their lives harder or more difficult. But there is a piece missing out here, and it's fire prevention. So the other thing that I need to get stocked up on is fire extinguishers. And that was a big push that I did last year for people to have an accessible fire extinguisher. So those funds, I got to build those up because I have got to get those ordered like today. I should have done it yesterday because I am officially out of fire extinguishers. And that's not something, the city's gonna do. They want the homeless to die. I mean, literally, when you end fire prevention efforts and you just use the police to sweep them from block to block to block, and then you have an unfortunate incident like Terry had. Terry had been swept twice in less than like 2 weeks. And she had an accident with her generator trying to stay warm. And those things are going to happen. It was interesting to me that she was able to stay in one spot, keep her area perfectly clean for months, and then the police not be okay with that and insist that she pack up 2 more times in a 2-week span. Well, it's no wonder she had that accident. I can't help but think, had she been left in that stable area, harming no one, committing no crime against anyone except somebody's eyes, I suppose, I don't think that accident would have happened. And she was lucky that she got out alive and unharmed. A gentleman by the name of Mike was not so lucky last year out here, and he died. And he was in intensive care for a couple of weeks. And it was one of the most painful things to have to deal with his family. I got to know them. And then to have Terry, who was the first person to try to help Mike get out of his van as he was covered in flames. Terry she is very scarred emotionally from the issue of fire out here. And for her to have that accident after everything we've been through in the last year, in the last 2 winters, I don't think people understand what that does to the mental state of mind. And it's tragic. It really is. And sometimes you absolutely cannot help those individuals. You can only comfort them. It is a very hard task to feel like you've done something productive for those individuals, because they're in a constant state of suffering. So do they deserve to be harassed? Do they deserve not to be able to try to survive? The answer is no. Absolutely not. So anyway, I was on my way to do some things that I still need to get done. I just happened to do this live stream just because I was driving by and came into this situation. So that's today's news. And thank you, Ellie. Put a smile on a homeless person's face. That's awesome. There are a few of them out here that are accusing me of making money off of the homeless. One of them got really mad at me a couple weeks ago. Get the fuck out of here, Regan. All you're doing is using us. I'm thinking, dude, if I was going to use someone, something, it definitely isn't going to be you guys. Not that that is my nature, but he also feels like I haven't done enough for him. So, hey, you know, it is what it is, and I'm not going to let those things deter or stop me. I just have to make and take different approaches to things. And I do need to get smarter about how I am utilizing those resources, connecting to other resources, and working with the people that can get me and my friends where we need to go. So that's what I've been working on. And I've got a great announcement coming up. We've got somebody new joining the nonprofit, and I don't take that stuff lightly. That is a very serious endeavor for me because it takes a very, very special person, number one, to work with me. Number two, to work honestly and diligently with the homeless and be real. And number three, the person that wants to do it for free. Because this is not a position where you can collect any sort of pay. Needless to say, I am not that organization that takes money from government and pays myself and others before actually going out and doing the work. That is not what this nonprofit is about. So. All right, you guys, it was good to see all of you in here. Alan B., thank you again for that surprise in the mail. I'll be back. We'll have some more videos of DPD being out of blinker fluid and octagon training. All right, you guys. Ellie, thank you very, very much. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye.